it's Sandra from SandraD Imagery, and with this Watch Me Edit video I'm going to share with you how I created this fun and whimsical image. I started with a base photo and then I added in my elements and then I did the colour grading, and it started with just having some fun and creating an image. Let's turn off all the layers and show you what I started with. This is the base image. It was from a stock library, one of the websites where you can download free images. I would love to be able to photograph something like this, but I've never been able to see it in my travels. What I love about this image is the trees, the path, the fog and the mist. It's got a little bench there to add some character. But what I don't like is these blown areas of light over here on the left hand side, which can happen when you're photographing foggy landscapes. But that's okay, I can work with that later at the end of my workflow. So now, where do I start? What are the elements that I'm going to put in for this composite image? Sometimes I'll just sit and look at the image and think, well, what could I put in there? Could it be a car? Could it be a house? Could it be a cow? Could it be, start thinking. But then I thought, well, this is whimsical. It doesn't have to be real. I can put in whatever I want just to add some fun. Now I go to my stock library, and what I've got is this tower, which is digital art, most likely from Pixel Squid. And I put that in the path and I went, that's it, that's exactly what I was after. And the reason I chose this element is it's a tower and it's got height, which then gives a proportion because the trees are tall, and this gives height, but it doesn't have to be in true proportion where it over dominates. So I've put that tower in. My next layer you'll see is named color toning, and it's a technique that I use to blend an element in with the color of the background. And this tutorial is available on my free Photoshop tutorials on my website SandraD Imagery. Turn that layer on and I'll zoom up, and you can actually see when I turn it off, just subtly tones or adds a bit more warmth to that tower. Now, I tried to blend the base in with the foreground, and some techniques that I use will be a mask with a brush, but there was no grass there. And so I thought, well, okay, what am I going to do? And so what I did was added another piece of digital art, and it's grass. But as I zoom up and I look at it, I think, oh, that just doesn't look right. It's not what I had in mind. But to be honest, I didn't know what I had in mind. I used the color tone technique again, and it sort of fixed it, but it just looked too sharp on the edges of that base there. So now I go to my stock library, and I've got some grass in there, and I'm going to add that. But one of the reasons that I chose this grass is I look at the image again and I go, well, what's the colour of the foreground here? It's a bit more yellow autumn tones. Do I put a bright green grass in there? I don't think it will work. And so what I did was put in this layer, which is grass, which is a yellow colouring. You can see as I've zoomed up, I've done a little bit of brushwork with a grass brush. And this is where it pays off photographing different elements for your stock library. So I photographed grass that's wheat, weeds, this yellow grass, and I can use that whenever I need in my composite images. Now what I did do was I put that there. I then go, okay, I'm going to do a levels, and that just gives it a little bit more of a pop of colour. I'll turn that layer off and on. So now I think, okay, I'm happy with the grass that's there. It's blending in. Still not happy with this blown out area over here. And the next layer that I use is a texture for color grading, and the texture I chose has got some autumn tonings with some grey blue. I'll turn that layer on, and you can see now it's just sort of subtly covered that blown out area. Let's turn the texture on so that you can actually see the texture. I'll go to normal and I'll change the opacity to 100%. Now there's a mask there, and you can see that I've masked out or brushed off the areas where I didn't want the texture. But let's have a look at that texture. It's got some painterly grass there, and over here is that colour that I used to fix it up. Now I will often use a fine art texture for colour grading only, and it's got a subtle little bit of texture in there, but it was more the colour. So I'm just going to get it back to normal, 54% opacity, and the blend mode is multiply. I'm going to turn that texture off and on again, and by adding that as a layer, it just now fixes up some of the areas that I wasn't happy with. Now I sit back and I look at the image and I think I'm happy with the elements. I'm happy with the colour, but I feel there's too much warmth in it. And one of the tricks that I'll do is I'll use a blue photo filter, and I use the colour cyan. Now I'm going to turn that layer on, and you can see now that it actually gives it that colour. I'll turn that layer off and on. It's a blue photo filter. Now there's several ways that you can use this. If I go up to my adjustments panel, there's an icon that looks like a camera and it's photo filter. Now when you use this, it will actually put on a mask. But another way that you can do it is go up to image, adjustments, and then you'll see photo filter. Now that doesn't put a mask on. I tend to use this one as my preferred choice. So now it's got the blue color. Let's go up and have a little look. There's another photo filter, cyan. Layer 3 is a stamp visible layer. And the reason that I do that is I sometimes think I'm done and I'm finished, and I'll do a stamp visible layer. I'll turn that layer on and you can see that no change has been made. Now, how to use a stamp visible or emerge layer is on my Photoshop tutorials on my website, and it just explains how you can create a stamp visible layer. But coming back, I now sit and look at the image and I think, am I happy with it? What's missing? And for me, when I look at it, there's a lot of negative space there that I think just doesn't work. My eye is drawn to that lighted area on the left, but I want the viewer to look down this laneway and look at the tower, a little structure down there. So what I'm going to do is use another little trick that I might use to give a little bit of balance, and I'll explain what I mean. I'll turn the layer on and you see I've added a bird. It's a Photoshop bird brush that I've got, and I'll turn that layer off and on again. Now when I say wait, have a look at the right hand side. There's the tree trunks, they're tall, they're strong. I've got the bench, I've got heavy foliage on the top, got the tower in the middle, but I don't want that eye to drift off. So what I'll do is add balance, and I just chose a small element, a bird. Now I tried different elements in there to give it a little bit more balance, and it just became too weighty or too unbalanced on the left hand side. So that's why I added the bird. Still not happy with this area here because it's too overblown and it's too much negative space, but I know I will fix that up at the end. By adding the bird, it's what I call a triangle. So if I look at the middle of the tower and just come up here, There's the top of the triangle. I'll draw an imaginary line down to the bird. Then I'll draw an imaginary line across to the base, and then I'll go back up to the top. And so that's giving me what I call a triangle balance to an image. Don't always use it, but it's a good technique to consider. Now I look at it and I think, well, the tower looks a bit flat. It's a bit dark and moody in there. I'm going to put some lights on, and let's zoom up and have a look. I'll turn that layer off and on, and all I've done is actually used a brush, a Photoshop brush that I use for lights, and it just gives it that little pop of someone's home at night. It's whimsy, it's fun, doesn't have to be real, but it's the little touches that can add to your composite image. Now, whenever I'm using a Photoshop brush, I always use it on a blank layer. I never do it on a pixelated layer. For example, layer 3 is pixels. So if I didn't like that lights, I could easily delete that layer. So let's zoom back out and let's go up. There's the stamp visible layer. Again, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I did a little bit of vibrance brushing, and it's subtle. You can't see it, but this mask is white. I've inverted it to black, and to invert a mask is Control-I or Command-I. That means I can brush the vibrance into an area that I want. There's another photo filter I've added as cyan. You can see up there cyan, so it just gives a little bit more blue tone, and it's giving that what I call atmosphere and mood. Stamp visible layer, because I got to the point where I think, yeah, I'm nearly done. But how long is a piece of string? So I'll turn that layer on, and now this is where I sat and looked, and I thought, there's something missing. I don't know what. What can I add to this? If I add another element, a car or an animal, you know, does it lose its simplicity? And then what I decided was my little signature piece, which is a clouds brush, and I'll, what I call in a technical term, whack in the clouds. I'll turn that layer on, and you can see now I put clouds, and as I zoom up, there's some rain. I've done it on a blank layer. I've got brushes for different things. I've got cloud brushes, rain brushes, bird brushes, you name it. I have it in my little toolkit that whenever I get an idea, I've already got the tools there. So let's come back up now and go, there's a stamp visible layer. And I'm finding that what's missing, it's flat on the colours, and a little technique that I use is I add grain. Now I'm just going to click on this layer here and turn it on, and you can see, I'll just turn that layer off and on, and I've added in some fill and grain. And what I've used is the Nik plugin software, and I've used a very fine fill and grain. Now the opacity is at 60%. If I put that up to 100% and you zoom right in, you can see there's a lot of digital color noise, and I don't want that. So I'll play with my opacity to drop that layer down with the grain, so it just is a subtle grain effect. I add a levels, and I choose a levels as a personal preference. I find that it just gives me the contrast that I'm after, but without dominating, and it gives a softer finish to my colors that I use. Some people use curves. My personal preference is levels. Stamp visible layer. Then I'll go in and add another levels layer. I look at the image and I think, what's missing? It's a bit flat. I'm going to do some dodging. Now this is one technique that I'll use to add in light. When I do dodge and burn, I never do it on the pixelated layer. That's destructive. I always do it on a grey layer or a blank layer. This is a grey layer here. I'll turn that layer on and off. And you can see I've just brushed in some light into different areas. Turn it off, turn it back on. I've brushed in some light on the fence posts, I've done it on the door, and I've done it on a few other areas just to give a little pop of light. There's my finished image. And so it was a bit of fun, a bit of whimsy. Now what I do is save it as a PSD or a TIFF, which means it keeps all the layers. Then I'll save it as a full resolution JPEG. And then I will open up the JPEG and make another copy, and that is where I'm going to fix this over on the left hand side. And one of the techniques that I'll use is the crop tool on that. Now I'll come in and I'll just work on this here as though it was a JPEG, no layers, but I'm going to get my crop tool, and then I can start to play with it and think, well, what are the different compositions? Now a tip for you, I never crop at the beginning, I never crop an image in the middle, and I only crop at the end when I'm working on a JPEG. I would never crop on my last layer on my PSD or TIFF file. I got caught out a number of times that in the early days, so I now get that into my workflow. So what kind of crop can I use to get rid of this area over here on the left? I also don't like these leaves up here. So I'm going to come up here and choose, let's say, a 1x1 square. That gives me a different ratio. I can actually just move that, get rid of the bench if I don't want, and then that makes a tighter composition and a tighter crop. I'll undo that, and let's come up and choose a 16:9 crop. Now when I crop, I do not crop by eye. I used to in the beginning, but now I crop to a certain ratio, and there's reasons for that that I will explain. Is that you want to crop to a ratio, not what your eye looks or likes, because that can come and be a little bit of a pain if you're going to print an image. And most printers like to work to a standard ratio crop. So there's a 16:9, and I think, oh, okay, I can work with that. But I don't like this area here. So I'm going to come up and go clear. By clicking on clear, it allows me now to adjust the crop. And I might just get it to about there. I'll bring that down a little bit because I want some of the foreground and I want some of that top. Now, if I go too high, I get that leaf, so I want to bring it in. So there's my crop for the finished image. I'll click on the tick. And I'm happy because I don't have all that negative space that's there, that was there on the left hand side. But let's do some border control and look at these spots of light coming through here. And I don't like that because your eye goes to light first, and what I would like to do is the viewer to look down that path. So one way that I can fix that is I could do another crop and just bring that in tighter if I wanted to. That's one way. But let's say I want to work with that crop, then I can do what I call the patchwork. Get my stamp visible, my clone stamp tool, sample an area and just brush across these bits of light. Now I'm just doing it very roughly. But it pays to do border control and check your image for the areas that you don't like. So for example, over here, I don't like those little spots of light coming through the foliage. Hold down my Alt or Option key, sample that color, and I'll just disguise it. Now I've done that rough. But the takeaway for this is when you're doing your crop, do it at the end and do it on your JPEG, not the full layered version. So I've named this Down Foggy Lane. It was fun, dash of whimsy thrown in, and sharing the different techniques with you. Have fun being creative.